So one other cool thing at the SMMT this year is that they have a range of electric trucks, and we're going to take a look at the 3 most interesting ones. Today, and I'm with Renault. I'm going to be taking out their D-Wide fully electric truck, 26 tonner on the road, so fingers crossed. This truck has been fitted with a CP Davidson refuse body. So we're thinking the target market is probably going to be councils and local authorities. So Renault has just told us that any commercial enterprise that switches from diesel to electric is immediately going to lower their running costs, which is pretty impressive. The contracts are usually based on 300 megawatts of charging, which in most cases is going to take you between 7 and 8 years. So these trucks come with 4 times 66 kilowatt hour batteries, which is like 4 times what you'd find in a standard car. Maybe quite surprisingly, for a truck this size, you can charge it with a 22 AC or a 150 DC. Hey.
So, the keys in the ignition, it will start up just as it would do a traditional petrol or diesel car. So key right round and let it go. Right, that's just going to go into self-test mode. So when it's ready to go, the needle will pop up to the 0, and that's when we know we're good. There we go, it's popped up. Okay, so put your foot on the foot brake, and then you press D. That will put it in drive, and you'll see that a 1 will appear up on the dashboard to the right hand side.
Yes,
okay.
I see it.
So it's got hill start brakes, so when you take your foot off the brake onto the accelerator, the brakes will stay on for approximately 3 seconds or until you apply some throttle. So we need to take the handbrake, so keep your foot on the brake, take the handbrake off, so you just pull it towards you. There we go, let that go. Okay, and then we can give it a little bit of throttle. So we want to go straight ahead until we get to the tyre tracks. Ooh. Yeah, just nice and easy. Then once we get to the tyre tracks, we can start putting a bit of lock on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, just ease the throttle out.
Okay.
Yeah, nice and easy, and roll away.
I remember saying this in Paris, but it's in Blainville, sorry, it was how eerily quiet it is in these vehicles.
Literally the noisiest thing you're going to get is the wind.
Yeah, considering the size, it is just like you're expecting so much more noise. What sort of speed is considered safe for that sort of weight?
So this vehicle can legally go up to 56 miles an hour, but being a refuse vehicle, it would spend most of its life doing between 10 and 15 miles an hour, going around town delivering, collecting waste from residential properties.
So, assuming it was a diesel vehicle, 10-15 miles per hour is going to produce a lot of CO2 and things like that, right?
Yeah, so that would be, I mean, a vehicle of that would be doing an average of 3 miles to the gallon, so using quite a lot of fuel. So if we just slow it down now, we want to be going around this at around about 25 miles an hour. If we want to stick to the lower part, because we want to do the banking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because trucks get a little bit worried if they bank too much.
Okay.
We've got quite a high centre of gravity.
Have you tried this before?
You really notice the it's called the hydraulic seats, right?
Yep, air suspended seat.
Yeah. When you're going over these bumps, it's a standard feature in lorries, right? Normally in the driver's side, or
yeah.
Okay, since you're the expert, what is the biggest difference you've noticed between the diesel and the electric lorries?
Okay, so the biggest difference obviously is the noise in the diesel. In the electric versus the diesel. It's very quiet. The second thing you notice when you drive an electric is the torque. You've got all the torque instantly as you pull off, whereas in a diesel you've got to build it up.
So what other safety features are incorporated in standard?
So a standard with this vehicle, we've got the electronic stability control, and we've also got the electronic cruise control, so where it actually follows the distance to the vehicle in front and will be able to apply the brakes.
So if a local authority or a council or something has a vehicle like this, how long are they going to be operating it for?
A typical council would operate a refuse vehicle between 8 and 10 years, and we would be able to offer very much similar with an electric. Obviously we would be taking into account what their sort of operation is to make sure it matches the life of the batteries, but we're looking at doing very similar.
Is there any actual servicing needed on these
Yes,
vehicles?
the vehicle still needs servicing, but we would say on average it's 30% less than a diesel model. That's simply because it's got less moving parts, and this you've just got 2 electric motors and the axles for your moving parts, whereas in a diesel you've got all the componentry within the engine.
Is there a cab that you can sleep in? Like how? Because a lot of these truck drivers are going to be doing long distance, right?
For an electric vehicle, so we keep to the right and head back into the slot. Yeah, it is what we call a back to base vehicle. So it would start off at one point, do its delivery runs, and then come back to base. So there would be no need for a sleeping facility within the cab. As we get into future generations and we start offering electric on long haul, then that would be incorporating a sleeper cab.
How long is a professional truck driver's day?
A professional truck driver will be driving anything between 8 and 10 hours a day, but that's obviously completely limited by the driver's hours regulations and the tachograph rules. Okay, so if you put the handbrake on, just pull that forward and right down till it clicks a bit further. There we go. Then if we press neutral, and if we turn the key off.
Hey,
there we go.
Thank
You're
you.
in the future.
That was a lot of fun. My first time driving a truck. Oh my goodness. So now we're going to take a look at the Volvo FL, built on the same platform as the Renault truck we just drove. Very similar specs. So let's get in and give it a ride.
This is the 16-ton version of this truck. It can go up to 16.7 tons. It's the same sort of platform as the Renault that we just drove. It's got 4 66 kilowatt hour batteries giving 264 kilowatts. Those battery packs will give it a range of about 250k, which in British miles that's about 150. Unlike the Renault that we just drove, this truck has only got automatic regen. It doesn't actually have any different settings for the regen, and it doesn't feel quite as fierce in that department as well. It's much smoother to drive than a regular truck because I haven't had to change any gears. It does have 2 gears. One is really just for starting off, and the second one is just the normal driving about gear. So it popped up in a second, and it'll probably stay there for the whole time that I'm driving this vehicle. So some aspects of this truck look like the Renault. Dashboard is very different. The dials are very different. The software will be different as well. So when I started off, I had to use a conventional key. I turned on the system once and then I turned it on again, and there's actually a pneumatic handbrake as well you have to release. So one thing you'll say about these are very easy to drive. Not having to change gears makes a big difference. It's very quiet, it's very smooth, and if you're driving a truck for 7-8 hours a day, that's going to make it less tiring. Almost makes you want to become a truck driver. I really loved that film Convoy when I was a kid, so you know, I'm living out the dream here. So I'm obviously on a run, delivering Cornish pasties around England. So obviously safety is a real problem. You know, a lot of people get injured by trucks in metropolitan areas. Actually, one of the major causes of cyclist and pedestrian casualties and fatalities. So this truck is going up quite a steep incline here, but it's coping with it reasonably well. This truck is empty at the moment though, so it'll be interesting to see how it coped if it had a full load. The maximum load would be 7 tons, so I'm going down there, aren't I? So this truck has, you can see here it has a camera here. At the moment it's just showing one view, but it can show 4 views. There you go, it's come back with 4 views, which will help you see when you're in traffic, and it's a requirement for trucks in London and other cities. Is that right? Yep. Don't know if you can hear that. The vehicle is apparently turning left. That's probably presumably part of the system. I'll signal left again and see what happens. Yeah. So you can hear this vehicle is telling people that it's turning left. You might be familiar with that if you've live in a city and have a truck turning left in front of you.
Okay, Ron, so tell us what we're looking at.
So this is a 19-ton LF full electric vehicle. So on the side here, you'll see the big black part is the batteries. So there's one on either side. They weigh approximately 2.2 tons. And then down here, just in front of it, is what we call a cooling pack. And basically that will keep the batteries at the optimum temperature, which is 25 degrees. Anything that's orange, we don't touch.
We don't
touch,
yeah.
Because it's risk of death. This vehicle has a tail lift on it, which is run off of the 24-volt batteries rather than the big batteries.
So does the 24-volt batteries, do they charge from the main batteries, or how do you charge?
It's a completely separate system.
Oh,
so
okay.
It has an alternator like you would on a normal vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It would recharge the batteries that way.
What's the full range? Like, what's the largest vehicle?
So at the moment we do a DAF CF vehicle, which is plated at 37 tons rather than 44 tons. That's the biggest vehicle. So we have the LF and the CF. But obviously working on more to come in the future.
The CF was electric as well?
CF is electric, yeah, full electric.
Oh.
But where a normal truck will be plated at 44 tons, the CF is only 37 tons. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you've got a 7-ton less payload basically than you would with a normal conventional truck. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so turn the ignition key on. So you may, that's it.
There we go.
Right, so hang on, wait. So we're waiting for a message to come up here on the dash. Now turn the key forwards and release. Now release, that's it. So now the needle is at the top, so that means that we're good to go. Your gears are here, so foot on the brake, put that into drive. Okay, handbrake is here.
Is this a...
Up and forwards, and then accelerate. There we go. Clear left. Turn. Beautiful. So over on your right hand side you've got the headlights, so down there. If you can put them onto it for me. That one, that's it. And again, next position, that's it. There we go.
Okay.
And away we go.
So, can you tell me, what are we driving today?
We are driving a DAF LF electric, full electric vehicle, 19 tons weight.
19 ton.
Yes.
And what's the battery size in this?
It's 362 kilowatts.
162 kilowatts.
Yeah, so basically it has a range of about 160 to 170 miles on it. Okay. And the batteries weigh 2.2 tons. And there's one on either side of the vehicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What about the charging options?
You have a few options really. You can have a slow trickle charge overnight, which will take between 8 and 10 hours. Or you can do a rapid charge, which will be done in 45 minutes. The difference in the cost for a trickle charge overnight, you would be looking about £30,000 approximately. For a fast charge, you would be looking about £150,000.
Okay.
And we wouldn't just sell you a truck. We would, if you bought a diesel truck from us, we would sign you up today and say thank you very much. With an electric vehicle, we have to look at where your routes are, where you're intending to send the vehicle, and what your vehicle actually does, how you're going to charge it, what ancillaries run off of it, tail lifts, PTOs, cranes, etc. So it all has an effect on the range. So you have to be looking at all sorts of things. So, and whether you have the infrastructure within your business or within the premises to be able to charge these vehicles. So it's not as clear cut as you think, really.
So what's the maintenance sort of schedule on something like this?
It would be the same as a normal truck. So every 6 weeks it would have an inspection dependent on what's been specified, and they would check everything that's required. So steering joints, tyres, brakes, etc, etc. The only slight difference is that the technicians have to be trained on electric vehicles, because obviously this is all new technology. Like a diesel truck, these things can kill you. So there's a simple rule of thumb with a DAF vehicle is if it's orange, don't touch it. All the electric cabling is all coated in orange, so if it's orange, you don't touch it.
Right. So. What driver safety features have we got here?
So we have lane departure warning. So if a driver drifts out of his lane, you'll get an audible warning from either speaker. It also has AEBS, Advanced Emergency Braking System. So if a driver should happen to pass out of the wheel, the vehicle will do all in its power to minimise the amount of damage that's going to happen on impact.
Is that as standard, or are there other options that you can add?
It's standard at the moment.
Okay.
So this vehicle, obviously, as time goes on, vehicles will evolve.
Are you anticipating any autonomous driving in like the next 10, 20, 30 years?
It's a long way off, isn't it? I think a certain amount of autonomy will happen. There has been trials in the UK of platooning vehicles.
Right.
That's to test the suspension.
Okay. Yep, don't need to test that.
No, it's already been tested.
Yeah. So do these vehicles come with like sleeper cabins or anything like that?
Yes, there's various options. Depends on the type of work that the vehicle is doing, whether it's a sleeper cab or a high sleeper cab, how many people are in there. This is a day cab. You can get an extended day cab as well, where you have a bit of a parcel shelf behind. So there's 101 different options. So we cover all sorts of applications. So yeah, anything that you want, really.
How much is one of these, retailing at?
The electric vehicle, at the moment, this will set you back approximately £330,000.
Do you think it's feasible that people will buy something like that at this price?
What most people will do is they will lease these vehicles for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. Nobody will outright purchase one of these vehicles. So that's the way that they are financed.
Give me your best argument. Why would I choose that?
Why wouldn't you?
Okay. Not the answer I was expecting.
It's the best truck on the market. We cover all types of applications, from the refuse sector to snow plows to 44-ton trucks, the biggest cab on the market. So why wouldn't you?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much for watching our video, guys. If you like this, please be sure to like, subscribe and hit that little notification bell to be notified when our next video comes out.